Let's not focus on trying to save money. Let's focus on trying to make it. I did not have the money to do that. I had to focus on what my goal was, and I had to do every single thing that I could to make that a reality. Hi, and welcome to the Mindset and Marketing Podcast. My name is Matthew Toman, and I am the host of today's show. The Mindset and Marketing Podcast was created to give jargon-free information around mindset and a very close second to that, marketing. I think that the two most important things that you need to have and need to understand if you want to achieve your goals, scale your business, break away from the 9 to 5, and just have a stress-free life. I have done this myself, and it's something that I want to share at every single opportunity that I can. So across our social media, across our podcast, our training with the Mindset and Marketing Academy, I want to just show people that mindset, get it in the right place, and understand that you already are a marketer. So you might as well scale up and get the power from it and set out to achieve everything, or go out and achieve everything that you set out to. So quick life update. I am back in California. I got grounded in Northern Ireland with my broken foot. My foot, unfortunately, is still playing up. So it's still, I went on a hike last 2 weeks ago and it swole up again. I didn't even do too much with it, but it's back being strapped up and I'm limping around, but it is getting better. I think that's just going to be something that's going to take a long time to get over. It happened probably 6 months ago now, but it's definitely something that I'm going to have to be careful with and something that I'm going to have to watch. Being back in California has been brilliant. Catching up with friends, going to my favorite restaurants. But it has been slightly different because it has been cloudy. Everybody at home in Europe, in Ireland, the weather has been unbelievable from what I'm seeing from everybody at home. And I've been looking out at a cloudy sky. Now the sky has broken and apparently it's going to be sun for the rest of the year. We'll see how that goes. But whenever I did spend 18 months in California, I very rarely seen a cloud in the sky. So I'm hoping that those days are now back. Being back in America has been brilliant because you can jump from state to state and go to different events. Last weekend, we ended up going to the Miami Heat game number 3 of the NBA Finals, something that was very enjoyable. Unfortunately, they got beat, and then the Nuggets went on to win the championship in Game 5. But really good to be around, exciting times. That's one thing about California that I love. There's always an event going on. There's always something happening. I was at Sinespe as well the week before last, which was really great, watching a movie under the full moon. And there's always something going on here. There's a lot of homelessness around, and whenever the clouds were in the sky, I don't know, it seemed to just feel a lot different when the blue skies weren't there, and you sort of started to notice there's a lot of people living on the streets right now. So California, it is amazing. I'm still happy to be here, but they do have some stuff that they need to sort out 100%, and hopefully they will. Let's hope that they do. Just on a side note as well, Bankhouse Media is flat out always working really well. The team is growing, so if anybody is a web developer out there that is looking for a job, get in contact with me, get in contact with Bankhouse Media through our social media, or if you know anybody who is. We are always looking for web developers. It is one department within our business that just continues to grow, and we're always looking for new web developers to join the team. So if you know anybody, if you want a job, hit us up. So on today's show, the topic that I want to talk about is every day is a school day. And once I learned that over the years, and I started to realize whenever I bring that into today and I wake up and I think, okay, well, if every day is a school day, looking back at my past, what can I learn today? And there is a lot of things that I did learn today, even setting up for this podcast right now. I'm in my new apartment right now, and it's been a bit of trying to get the new studio set up has been a bit more difficult than I had anticipated, because noises, lighting, loads of different things going on. So you do learn something every single day, and that is one thing that I want to just give a bit of a nudge into people, to a reminder now that you are learning right now, and you got to take the opportunities and the lessons as they come through, instead of looking back from years to come and say, God, that was a really good lesson. Start to realize in that day, okay, there's things that I'm learning, start to bank it. How can I make sure that that doesn't happen again? Because I want to show you how powerful this is. I have a multi-million pound digital media agency that operates all over the world and has clients everywhere, and a really good, strong team that continues to grow and continues to grow in revenue, grow in people join the team and workforce and grow in new clients acquiring every single day. And one of the reasons why is because I learned a really, really hard lesson a few years back, and that's what I'm going to just talk about today. So what are the stuff we're going to go through? Number one, don't allow your ego to stop the lessons coming through. So many people get defensive as a lesson is coming through. Stop it. We've all done it. I've been there. You just have to stop and say, okay, this isn't what I wanted it to be. Stop being so defensive and stop your ego from taking control of that. The second thing that I want to cover is that you are also a teacher. So you're a teacher. You need to make sure that you're bringing the people that you're working with in the right direction. Someone comes to you for advice in some form, 100%. So you got to understand, you got to listen to the feedback of the stuff that you're giving. And then the third thing that we're going to cover here is, and the most important, knowing when to stop talking and listen. Hardest thing I had to learn. Not because I thought I knew more than the person that was talking to me. It's just because I thought it was conversational and I was cutting across them and creating a conversation when it wasn't. The lesson comes through. It's not conversational. It's one direction. If they're giving you advice and something you're going to learn from, stop talking. 2 ears, one mouth for a reason. So there was so many times that I cut across people whenever I could have got the most valuable lessons of my life, because I was thinking that we were trying to have a conversation and we were going through it. So how did I end up building a multi-million pound digital media agency from a really hard, tough lesson? So whenever I opened Bankhouse Media back in 2014, I had set out to be a film production agency. We had went niche. Everybody tells you to go niche. I teach people to go niche. And I do think it is important to start niche and to grow from there. But as you're going through your growth, it is important to realize, have I grown out of my niche? Is there opportunities elsewhere? And that is also something that we teach. It is good to start niche, but I stayed in my niche area for too long. So how did I do that? I had set out to be a video production agency. Now, whenever we were doing video production, we were doing TV commercials, corporate videos, and social media content. Not as much social media content back then because it wasn't so content driven. But we were just doing video. We were trading our time for money, albeit it was good money. We were making good money at that time, but it was just trading money for your day. You were getting paid for your day, and then you were given a video at the end of it. So this is before I had a scalable business. It's before I had digital products. We ended up making a movie, me and another producer, a really good friend of mine, and both of us got caught out, very unfortunately, in about 60 grand's worth of debt. Now, looking at that now, it wouldn't stress me out as much now, but back then I did not have the money to do that. I was thinking, I don't have the money to pay this back. We split it down the middle. He took 30 grand of it, I took 30 grand of it. We were really hoping we had been guaranteed a bit of investment into a movie. It fell through at last minute, and I mean last minute. There was nothing we could do about it. The work had already been done, and the invoices for us to pay out that 60 grand were already coming in fast. So we had to really reevaluate what we were going to do. Both of us separated. He looked after half of it, I looked after half of it. We couldn't even communicate because of the stress of it. Everything worked out into an argument, which was funny looking back. But at that time, I was going through one of the biggest lessons of my life, and I didn't realize it. Really, I didn't realize it at all. But whenever I sat down, I had just moved into my dream house, a new cottage in Dublin. I just bought a new car. We had our office in Temple Bar. We had staff. The team was growing, and the overheads were in and coming fast. But we were making more money, and it did make sense to grow. But this really took the wind out of our growth, my sales, my confidence, my belief. Everything changed, and I thought, oh my God, I can't believe I'm back in this situation again. So whenever I look and think, looking back, if this happened today, I'd be like, what are the lessons I'm getting and what skills do I have that can get me out of this fast? First thing I thought about, do I, get rid of this house? Do I sell my car? Like, what do I do? What can I do to try to pay this money back? How can I save this money? And there is no way that I could have cut anything out of my life that would have been able to give me the money that I had to give to these people. There's no way that ever would have happened, because I was in a position that I didn't have scalable money coming in. I didn't have digital products for sale. So what I done was I sat down at my breakfast bar and I said, okay, so here's everything. I'm trying to save money. Let's not focus on trying to save money. Let's focus on trying to make it. Let's focus on trying to make money. And that was the biggest lesson that I ever had. It was like something, it just came to me like an epiphany. And I'm sure you've heard that before from somebody else potentially, or other people out there are saying that. But I'm telling you, the day that it landed with me was something that I just thought, I need to focus on not saving money. I need to focus on how I'm going to make it. And I started to list down all of the knowledge that I had outside my niche. Because whenever we were making videos, we were working in the TV industry, we were working with people who were making VSLs, a video sales letter for their sales funnel. We were working with people who were making social media content. So we were starting to pass all of these jobs off to somebody else. So I would have made a video and then said to a web developer, hey, here's the sales video for your website. And then he would have said, what's the video about? And I would have told him, and 9 times out of 10, I ended up writing the headline, writing the paragraph, writing some of the sales copy as a draft to send over to him. And what had happened to me in that moment was I was thinking, okay, what if I didn't pass that off? How much did he get paid for that? All of these people were getting paid the same, if not more money than what I was getting paid for my video, but they were getting paid on a reoccurring basis. So whenever I started to look of how can I stop focusing on saving money, focusing on making it, and I take all of these jobs to myself, I will do them. Now, I did not have the ability to sit and do social media scheduling and run ads and build websites, but I thought if that's something that I could then charge, and in that moment, Bankhouse Media was born, a digital media agency, out of a really, really difficult time, a stressful time, something that, whenever I look back, it was, I put my hands up, it was the biggest lesson that I'd ever learned. Stop focusing on saving money and focusing on making it. And then going back and saying, how can I build an agency around all of the clients that I already have? I had this massive list of clients that I had been making videos of. Every single one of them needed a website. Every single one of them needed copywriting. They needed ads. They needed graphic design. And we already had our office set up as a production office for videos. Within about 3 weeks, I flew over to London. I met with my mentor. He was over, Anil Chimwani. He was in The Evolution of Success. He happened to be in London. I flew over and met him, had a chat with him, created Bankhouse Media together. I already had the idea. And in the airport on the way home, one of my clients rang me. And this is all about mindset and energy and visualization and things coming into your life and setting all those things up. I was so tuned into that. One of my clients rang me and said, Matthew, do you do social media management? Just coming back after creating this digital media agency, we had never done it before. I didn't even have someone to post the content, but I said to them, yes, I do. Because that's the business that we were creating. I said in Bankhouse Productions, we do video. In Bankhouse Media, we do social media management. We do graphic design. And I went into the office the next week in Dublin and I started to hire people around these services. I got these 2 graffiti artists. They were really good in the city. They came in and spray painted on the wall, Bankhouse Media. I took a photograph of it, put it on my own social media, and I was like, we are now servicing all media services, websites, graphic design, and everything started from there. At the time, whenever I owed 30,000, half of that 60, I did not have a scalable digital product, and the fear was inside me. There was so much fear inside me of thinking, I am going to go bankrupt. All of these people want money from me. What am I going to do? That will never happen to me again. Biggest lesson out there that I have to look back on. And why will it never happen again? Because I have built a business around scaling products, picking a niche or a service industry that really needs help. There's so many of them out there, something that you're passionate about. Going out there and actually finding, clients that are going to pay you for money. That part, I'm not saying it's easy, but whenever you've got your product or your service created and you've got all of that stuff there. Now, Bankhouse Media has went on to set the foundations of my life that's given me financial freedom of a country, travel anywhere that I want, and something that I'm really passionate about and love. I've had offers to buy the company, offers for business partners to pay me money and come in. I didn't need either of those because it was a business that had a lot of cash flow and give a lot of service. We've got an amazing team. We're always looking for new people to join. So again, if anybody's out there, please feel free to give us a call. So I just want to talk about 2 things. This 2 years, 1 mouth, knowing when to sit down, be quiet and listen. I flew to London for 3 days to meet with my mentor, Neil. I thought that we were going to have dinner. I thought we were going to hang out. I got 1 hour and 15 minutes with him in 3 days. Now, me and Anil are really good friends. He's been on several podcasts with me. He's been in a couple of my movies. I absolutely love him as a friend. But he was so back to back with stuff. I had 1 hour and 15 minutes. All I did in that meeting was listen and take notes. I answered a couple of the questions that he had, but he spoke to me. He spoke to me about my belief in myself, about my mindset, about how I can deliver the best service, how I can focus on always sticking to what I said I'm going to do. And that is what I'm going to say to you guys as well. Once you believe in yourself and you've got your product and service, always do what you say you're going to do, no matter, even if you have to take a loss on a job. Sometimes that money will come back to you. So don't always, your reputation should, be much greater than anything that you ever do, because it's the best way to get referrals. It's the best way to have, other business owners coming into your life. So remember to stop talking, stop cutting across people, and just listen. Do not let your ego say, he's wrong here, I think he's right. Because even if you don't agree with them in that moment, that doesn't matter. That's they believe what they're saying. You can take bits and pieces from that and let that go across. There's so many people that I work with now, and in the first stages of our calls, I know they're not taking in everything that I say because their ego won't allow them to. It's they're believing that they're completely right, and that's okay, because there's elements of them where they probably are. They know their product and service better even than I do whenever we first sit down. But just trying to keep your ego in check and not let it harm in that moment. Just let everything flow and let it go, and just remembering, that everything is a school day. And then also just remember that whenever you do start to do this, as you then are coming through and you're becoming a teacher yourself, giving your advice back, working with your clients, always offering more than what you're getting paid for, that you are now a teacher. So if someone comes back and says, hey Matthew, look, that wasn't really clear, or I got a bit less than what I thought I was going to get, or I thought you were going to provide 2 reels for me and not 1, or whatever that may be, you got to listen, you got to take that feedback, and then you got to act and react to that in that moment and say, oh my, sorry, I in our contract there's only 1 reel, but look, let me just do 2 for you, it's fine, it's all good, let's work it out. And they would often come back and say, no, it's fine, it's in the contract, where I would then say, look, let's try and do 2, let's just try and do it. So whenever you get feedback or someone coming back to you and saying, that wasn't really clear, it wasn't something that I really wanted to do, whatever it may be, if you're a barber, didn't really like that haircut, why'd you not like it? Let's try and fix it the next time. Whatever it is, in whatever industry, whatever niche that you go into, it's like taking feedback on board and understanding that whenever you go back out to deliver that service again, I was speaking to my mom and dad last week just on the phone, and they went to a restaurant and they said, oh, we didn't really have a good experience. And I was saying, okay, well, you've been going there for I think 50 years or 40 or 50 years at this point. I said, did you tell them? And they said, oh no, we wouldn't say anything. And I said, why would you not say anything? I said, that is valuable information to them. Maybe they've changed their chef, maybe they've had other people say that it wasn't great, and said, oh no, your cousin Stephanie as well, she also didn't have a good experience. And I said, that's more of the reason to go back to that restaurant who you've been a customer of for over 40 years and explain to them. As a business owner, I know how important that is. They will take the feedback because they wouldn't be in business this long if they couldn't. So you giving that feedback back, and then that business, or you as a business owner, being able to receive it and having your mindset in the right place with your ego in check, that is going to be invaluable to you. That is going to be your superpower. That is going to be something that you're going to say, okay, this is what I can learn from today. I can take this, and you can do whatever with the information. You can go in and sack your chef, or check with your, the other people around, or just ask other customers or ask other staff members, has anybody else had a problem with this? So whatever it may be, always remember that, you will learn from feedback. Don't really shut it down straight away. Don't let your ego take over, and just listen. Because all I do now whenever people come back to me is I spend most of my time listening. And that's one of the reasons why I love voice memos, because with voice memos, you can't speak over each other. You have to listen to everything that person's saying to you, and then you have to respond, and they have to listen to everything that you say to them. Sometimes when it's a Zoom call or a phone call, you can cut across each other, the message can get meshed and mixed up, and it could get a bit messy, but whenever you're going through and you're learning and you take time and sit with that, whenever I used to drink as well, it was one of the things that, like, if I got information and it didn't align with what was in my head, I reacted. Whenever I had a couple of days to sit on it, I was thinking, oh God, I wish I hadn't reacted on that. Where now it's able just to slow it down. Remember that every single day you're learning, and every single day is a school day. And it's definitely something that is going to help grow you as a person, grow in relationships. Asking one of your exes, hey, so how did that go? Why did we break up? Whenever things have cooled down and you can get an honest answer, you can learn so much from that for your next relationship. Understanding how you're being perceived, or maybe you're being irrational, or maybe you're just, whatever it may be, it's an opportunity for you to learn. So it's definitely something that I do want to go through. I do want to have all the information myself personally, and I encourage you to sort of want to have that back in every single aspect of your life, because the more data you have, the more information you have, then you can put that into practice, change, evolve, grow, and have your business growing. Have your life growing, have everything moving forward. It's something that if I hadn't have had those lessons and those hard times, I wouldn't own Bankhouse Media. We wouldn't be sitting here with this amazing agency. We wouldn't have the Mindset and Marketing Academy, which then allows people to grow, escape the 9-to-5, and just master anything that they set out to with their goals. I get a lot of questions through my own personal Instagram, through my WhatsApp, from family, friends, and also we put a question box up on our Mindset and Marketing Instagram page last week, just to have some of the questions come through to see if we can help in any way. The questions are very, very close. What do I start a business in? Can anyone have an online business? But one of the questions that a girl sent me last week and said, look, I want to start my own business, but I feel really stupid when I speak about it to my friends. And that is something that is really common. I haven't actually been asked that before, but it is something that I know is common, because whenever you have a group of friends, or you're living with your family, or you have people around you, and you're starting to look outside, the norm, from going out at the weekends, or drinking, or, potentially doing drugs, I don't know, or partying. I don't know what it is that this person was doing. But, once you start to set yourself out of the friend circle and start to think a bit different, they're going to try their best, I think, to bring you back into it, and to sort of maybe indirectly shoot down your hopes, your dreams, or ambitions. I personally don't think it is intentionally, and I don't think it is a reflection of what you're doing. And one thing that I would say in that is try not to take it too personal. Whenever I started talking to all of my friends about, I want to have a film production company, I want to do movies, I want to have a digital agency, I want to, and talk about all these things, I was really excited. And in some instances, I found that, it was met with negativity or a bit of rejection and things like, I don't know, whenever I was talking to people about it, I learned very fast that the people who love and support me, which I know that they do, don't always understand fully what our choices are whenever we start to grow or move in a different direction. And that is really their problem. That is not yours. And it's not a reflection of what you're doing. And it's really important for you not to take it personally. I think whenever I took it personally, at the time I did, I was thinking, what do you mean that, it's not a good idea, or you're not going to be able to do that? But what it did do was it gave me a bit of fire, give me a bit of my belly, where I thought, well, do you want to know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to do it regardless. And I think that is a good energy to actually have. I think it is something to sort of, that can give you a bit of energy to go forward. But now, in the new era of my life and moving forward in business now, there's so many moving parts that I don't have time to sort of do that, to sort of have this I'm going to prove you wrong attitude. Don't have time for it. Anybody who is not fully on board with the decisions that we're making within our business, or the decisions that of a new business idea that we're doing, our new product that we are, bringing to the market, I don't discuss it with them. I discuss it with my mentors. I discuss it with people that I trust, and I discuss it in a community that I know support me and fully understand what it is that our intention is and what we're setting out to do. A lot of people will see a reflection of themselves back in the mirror and think, well, they're not doing anything, they're not achieving anything, they haven't got any goals to work towards, so they'll maybe try to pull you back from setting out to achieving yours. And it's going to be really hard for you to just, it might feel a bit lonely at times. Definitely growing my business, I did feel a bit lonely, but once you build a community around you, or once you enter into community, the fact that you're even messaging this to me, you're already a part of community. I'm really delighted to have you even engaging with our stuff and even asking these questions, and I'm very happy to answer any of the questions that you have. But it's important for you to surround people who understand what your mission is, who understand what you're doing, what you want to try to do. Like, I know for a fact that the social media posts that I have put up have been shared between my own friends, and laughed at, and that's okay. Does it mean that I'm going to fall out with them? No, I'm not. It says more about what they're going through than what I'm currently trying to do or currently working towards. So I think it's going to be important that you're always, as you start to put your head up from the bunker a tiny bit, you're going to be open for fire, to be shot at. And that's okay. Keep going forward. Doesn't matter. What other people's opinion of you is completely and utterly irrelevant. It's their own business. You set your goal and you work towards your own goal every single day by mastering your mindset and then discovering everything you need to know about marketing. Learn it all. And other people that don't support you, that's okay. If they don't like your social media posts, I don't know, who cares? If they don't engage with you, that's okay. That says more about what they're going through. I have distanced myself from people over the years at different times, and it has really served me. Sometimes it was even family whenever I needed a break, just on my own, to be down in Dublin, out of the way, working towards something. Doesn't mean that I didn't love them, doesn't mean that I didn't reconnect and spend a lot of time with them. But in that moment, I had to focus on what my goal was, and I had to do every single thing that I could to make that a reality. So that's what I would suggest to you. Just do that. Another one is, can anyone have an online business? Yes, anybody can have an online business. The biggest question that I actually get is, what should I open an online business in? It's actually to the point where we've created a product just around that. If you don't have any ideas for a business, if you don't have any ideas for a business at all, how can you create a business? We have now created a product just around specifically that, how to have ideas for a business. And we're jumping on the AI bandwagon, which we haven't really spoke about much, but we built our own AI tool at the Mindset and Marketing Academy, where we now have our own AI marketing assistant that can bring business ideas to you. It can create your products. It can do so much stuff, and it's going to be out very soon. We've been working on it. It's actually amazing, to be honest with you. I use it now as my marketing assistant. I don't have an assistant right now. I literally look to our mindset and marketing assistant, and that's how I get ideas. That's how I get ideas for podcasts. That's how I get ideas for products. That's how I get everything. I got an air fryer and I wanted to get recipes. I just put it into the mindset and marketing, my assistant, and it gave me my workout plan, my workout menu. There's so much that it's doing right now, but we'll talk about that at a later date. So that is it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for getting this far, sticking around. I hope you learned something. I hope that now, knowing that every day is a school day, and today you learned something on this podcast, we want to try to give as much information jammed in like under 30 minutes. Of course, I'm going to have interviews with some really cool people. Continue to do that because I love chatting to people, but I really do want to get as much information out there in these solo podcasts as I can. For me, I love listening to solo podcasts. There's some amazing ones out there that just have taught me so much with marketing, everything in life, fitness. And it's something that I personally want to do myself. It's my mission to give as much information as I can, jargon free, to anybody who wants to listen. So if you got this far, thank you very much, and I will see you next time.